Hello everyone, welcome back. So I got to looking at my scans today on Thinkorswim to try to see if there was a trade that I could possibly take. So I thought it would be worth your time and worth my time to put a video together that kind of discusses the criteria I look for. If you've seen my video on the high probability trades using the standard deviation channels, it's the scan is set up pretty much around that concept. If you haven't, I'll link that video in the description or possibly put it at the end of this video. That way you can check it out if you haven't seen it. But we're going to talk through the scan today, and I'll show you the trade that I found that I think is interesting, and then we'll kind of look through how I would process the information once I found a trade idea on my scan, how I would go through determining whether or not I wanted to take a trade there. So let's go ahead and take a look at the chart now, and I'll walk through the scan and I'll talk about the trade that I found. This bull call scan, it found a position in ABV, and if you're a dividend investor like I am, then ABV's probably come across your radar more than once, and you can see they have just been in a terrible decline. Put that up against the S&P or the Qs even, and the market's been in just a strong rally for the last few months. But somehow ABV has went the other way. So I wanted to kind of uncover why they fell down so sharply. And to do that, I'm just going to simply use Google. See, I've already looked at it. ABV stock, April 2023. So I just want to know why did ABV on earnings, why were their earnings so bad that they fell from essentially 162 or so all the way down to close at 148. So that's a pretty serious decline in just one day. Even on an earnings day. So to kind of uncover that, I would just type it in and then I click here on news, and I kind of just scan through the headlines to kind of see what is it telling me, or what can I uncover without reading through all these articles. Motley Fool has an article about why AbbVie stock is crashing. So I clicked on it, and again, just skimming through here, and I'm not going to read through all this. The headline from AbbVie's latest financial report is that the immunology medicine, Humira, saw a 26.1% dip. The article goes on here, I've already read it, goes on to say that basically AbbVie is facing some competition, losing some market share to some other companies. They're also seeing sales declines, so that's why the market tanked as much as it did on earnings, on the last earnings call. Other than that, I looked through more of these articles and I didn't see any other reason other than just sales weren't as strong as they thought they should be. The guidance was lower than it was expected to be. Just generally, they had a bad earnings report. Doesn't mean the company's bad. Doesn't mean anything's up in flames. It just means that AbbVie had a little bit of a difficult period. But getting back to what we were originally here for, and that's to talk about the Thinkorswim scan. From there, I would just come over here and you can go to Load Scan Query Personal, and you can just find the scan you're looking for. And I want to talk through the kind of the setups, or the setup here, and the criteria that I look at. I want something above $10. You could set this to above 50, above 100, whatever you're happy with. You can see I've got a stock filter, so I would just add a filter, click on stock, and then I would add the last. Open interest is an option filter, same thing. You just click on option, and you can see all the different filters right here, what type they are. So you'd have to start here by clicking add a filter. Open interest, I should really set this to about 10,000 as a minimum. You can see I don't have any maximum, but at least it weeds out some of the stocks that don't have much liquidity. A lot of stocks have options markets, but you'll find that the bid-ask spread is $1 or more wide, and it's just not tradable. So I could put this to about 10,000, maybe even to 20,000, and AbbVie would probably still show up, because it's not looking at every. So let's take a look really quickly here. It's not looking at every category. So if I've got my 5,000 minimum, you can see that none of these calls would meet that criteria. But if any of these contracts have more than 5,000, even this one right here, then it's going to return AbbVie as an option in my scan. So it's just looking, the way I understand it is it's just looking for, of all the different options expirations that exist for any company, do any contracts have at least 5,000 open interest. So the next one is a custom scan. So you would just simply go here to custom. I'm not going to rebuild it, but once you click on custom there, it would bring you to a screen like this. You would click add condition. And just to show you what I've got set up, I just picked the closing price. I didn't pick any setting here. It crosses above the 9-period exponential moving average, and you would just search through the studies here to find the 9-period exponential moving average. And then once you would click OK, I just click cancel, but you would click OK, and then you would set the chart period to the period you want to look for. The RSI scan is I believe it's a popular study. Yeah, so you go under popular RSI scan, and the 14 period and the Wilders, those are just out of the box settings. As soon as you click RSI scan, those are just going to populate. And then I want the average type is less than 50. So basically what that's telling me is when you look at the RSI here, I want the RSI to be below this, basically the midline, the center line. So I just want it lower, kind of simulating that the market is maybe oversold a little bit, because I am looking for a bullish setup. And the average volume, 50 period simple moving average volume, is greater than 1 million. So as long as the average volume, you can see the volume today is 4 million. The average 30-day volume is 5 million, so well above that criteria. So the IV percentile is a volatility study. Click IV percentile, and then you can change these settings to whatever you want. I'm just using, these settings right here. I'm just using 0 to 50. Basically, I want this IV percent right here to be as low as possible, so I'm not paying an unnecessary premium. And then the standard deviation channel, which is kind of the one that really weeds out most of the stocks that these other ones would find, is you would go here and go to statistical standard deviation channel, and then I wanted the closing price is less than 1.5 times the standard deviation of the 252 linear regression line. But I added in this yellow line so you could see this is the 1.5 standard deviation channel line. As long as price has closed below that, I feel like it has a really high probability of wanting to come back up and trade inside of that line. Ideally, it would come back up to somewhere near this point of control right here. I feel like it has a really high probability of price wanting to come back inside this level here. And basically, I just want it to be below this 1.5 standard deviation channel line. When I run this scan, it's only going to return the one result, which in this case we know is ABV. What I found is the less opportunities that I'm alerted to, less time I waste looking at different assets that don't make any sense. In this instance, I was able to find a bull call scan on ABV. Technically speaking, it looks pretty good from the fundamental or maybe the company perspective. It looks like maybe ABV is still a little bit weak. But that's all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. But until the next video, God bless and take care.